Greetings from Merritt, Maloof, Plumb, and Jennifer Dixon.
Had to think about who we were today.
Yes.
And where we're from.
That's
and what
right.
we're doing.
It's a rainy day, and we've been running all morning, and we're just finally starting to breathe. And this is our podcast we call Sacred Spaces. It's where we discuss the softer side of yoga. And
I love that softer side.
Yeah, we just kind of share these different philosophies and ideas with you, not to change what you do, but to make it deeper, make it better. Like you can apply it to whatever you follow and whatever you do. And like I said, I'm Merritt Maloof Plumb with the Energy Center. I offer integrated energy medicine, both in person and from a distance. You can find me on Facebook and Instagram under the Energy Center or theenergycenter.com.
And I'm with Thrive Yoga and Wellness, and you are hopefully finding us here at the Thrive Yoga and Wellness YouTube channel, as well as our sort of new podcast, which is on all of the major podcast platforms. Pretty exciting. So like what we were talking about, we're just trying to dive in, give you something maybe a little bit different, because if you are listening or watching a yoga podcast, then you probably are already kind of tiptoeing into the asanas. Those are the postures that we like to do. But maybe some of the stories or some of the philosophies are still kind of new to you. And so what we have been doing now for, oh my gosh, this is like 6 months now, isn't it? We've been doing it. It's awesome.
Yes.
We've been diving into some of the softer things, some of the things that may not be as talked about in a yoga class, so that you can deepen your understanding of the practice and maybe even deepen your own experience and exposure with the practice. And so that being said, we are on technically week 6, but this is week 5 in terms of breaking down all the different yamas. These ethical guidelines, if you will, for a yoga practice. It's actually the first limb of Ashtanga Yoga. The Ashtanga means 8, right? So 8 limbs of yoga. And what we have decided to do, guess what? The asanas, those physical postures, they come after this. But that's basically what everybody focuses on. And sometimes it can get a little scary, like tiptoeing into these philosophies, especially if they're new to you and they're using words that you're not familiar with. Like, it can be a little scary. And so what we hope to do today, as we dive into this 5th yama, otherwise known as, you want me to say it?
Yes.
All right. Aparigraha. I'm probably not saying it correctly.
That's how I've heard it pronounced, Aparigraha. But sometimes I forget some of the last letters. So.
Yeah. So keep in mind, we're girls from the South, good old southern region of the United States, so we may say things a little different down these parts.
And it means non-attachment.
That's right. So don't be attached to my pronunciation. That's right. Great segue.
Let it offload. Let it offload.
Great segue. So today we're going to talk about non-attachment, Aparigraha, and what it means to us and in the yogic center. Center, is that the right word? Yogic sense.
In the yoga sense, yes.
Yeah.
Yes.
Struggling with my words here today. Let me drink some tea.
Yes. So it's essentially non-attachment, and it's taking all of the principles in the earlier yamas and teaching you to let things come and go naturally. All things break, all things end, and re-begin.
Correct.
And instead of trying to rigidly hold on to an idea always being the same, understanding that it's constant change and being soft with that.
Which is
not
hard.
only with possessions, but with your love too.
Yeah,
how you love.
Yeah, with your love, with everything, you know. So what we have been reading the Yamas and the Niyamas by Deborah Adele. And it's a really great book about like making these very ancient ideas come to life in a modern term. And she used a great example of going someplace and getting the same food every single time, and then one day they were out, and she like lost her gourd because they were out. And that hit home to me because I may or may not be a little bit guilty of that. I get into my ruts, like I want to do this, I want to go here, I want to be here and do this at these exact same times. And when that doesn't happen, whoo, Nelly.
It messes up your flow.
It does. And being attached to whether it's that meal or that schedule, for example, that can be uncomfortable. But it's also, on the flip side of it, very liberating as well.
Well, and I was just thinking as you were talking about that, how the universe seems, or God, or whatever you want to look at that as, is kind of testing us in this. Because I don't know anyone that's on the kind of routine that I used to be on, where you get up at the same time every day, you go to the same place, you see the same people, you do the same task every day, and that keeps things flowing. Especially you and I, because we own our own business and we're kind of pulled in so many different directions. This can be, it's a challenge sometimes to imitate the wind. Ooh. And because you still have to have things done. But when you can let go of it, like I was having this experience earlier where I had too much to do for the time I had. And it all had to be done. And I had an appointment with someone, so when I have an appointment with someone, I'm there at that time. So there's not a lot of flexibility in that. I mean, obviously if there's an emergency, you would reschedule, but you make an appointment, it's your business, you're there on time. And so on the way over there, and this place was up a mountain, and get me in the woods and I can get there. And, I was just thinking, is it going to make it flow any easier with you fighting like this, like resisting like this, and like not breathing, trying to get there? And I was able to let that go. And when I got done, the many things I needed to do before we met, they just happened.
It's funny how that works
happened,
out.
Yep. So non-attachment is about your ideas about those kinds of things too, and about love, the love of your family. We tend to be possessive, and we want our family to do certain things for this idea that we have, which may have been real at one point, but then you have kids and things, and you put a lot of restrictions on those that we love by not just loving them freely.
Interesting that when I was practicing the last time with my teacher, somehow or other death came up, the death of somebody. It doesn't matter what it was in regards to. And I said something in passing, and I didn't even think of it as not acting in a non-attached way, about being like how sad that it was. It was like, oh man, so sad that I don't have that person anymore. And my teacher said, why are you sad? They finished their job. They finished what they came to this earth to do. You got to have that experience with them. Don't be sad. And I was like, smack across the face. It's true.
It's just a gentle reminder.
Yeah. Like remember to let go, and that person has done their job, and they're in a better place. I firmly believe. And so it was beautiful. Another thing that Deborah brought up in the book is practicing letting go is a lot like your breath. So
oh yes, I
love this analogy, because your breath is life. Like, it's your life. You can't live without your breath. However, if you hold on to your breath, have you ever gone underwater playing in the pool, and you're like trying to see who can swim the longest?
Stay under the longest.
Yeah. That becomes toxic. All of the stuff that we're supposed to exhale, it can become toxic. And so on a very, very easy to understand level, your breath is the first thing that we let go of to make us live and thrive. So what else can we be non-attached to be able to thrive? And that one, I was just like, oh,
that was a big one for you.
Yeah. Don't hold my breath, because I can do that.
But I can too, and I teach it every day, like it's what I do. The breath and teaching these concepts, that yoga and most ancient wisdom speaks of is, this freedom from attachment, this You know, you let things be as they are, and you know. And I do believe, I don't just, I say I know this, but I don't just know it. No one can dissuade me from this knowing that these things that we hold on to as attachments within our body make us sick.
Oh, I agree. I agree.
And
They hold us down.
And again, the breath is such a powerful tool in breathing down to that and releasing it.
I love that. Letting it go. I'll have to think about that for a second.
There's a Buddhist story where the two Buddhist monks are going to cross a river, and they're like preparing for how they're going to do it and planning it on the walk. And when they get there, there was a young woman, a young beautiful woman, asking them to help her get across the river. And the two monks kind of exchanged glances because they had taken a vow never to touch a woman. And the older monk just picks her up and carries her across the river and sets her down and continues the journey. Well, the younger monk was so shocked. He just could not believe that he had broken his vow and done this. And he was just so angry and he didn't speak. They didn't speak for 1 hour, and then it turned into 2 hours. And then on the third hour, the younger monk was just, he couldn't carry it anymore. And he said, I was so shocked that you picked her up and carried her across the river because we're not supposed to touch women. And the older monk said, brother, I set her down at the river. Why are you still carrying her?
Yep.
And have you heard that one?
Yeah, I love that
It's just
story.
a beautiful reminder that, and there's another one about, can you build a raft and let it take you across the river and then leave it?
Ooh. That one gets me good.
Yeah, me too, because I carry things, and sometimes I don't even realize I'm carrying it until I bring an awareness to it. We collect things, you know.
Yeah.
And until you do intentionally go through and you're like, why am I keeping this, that you realize that we have a lot of attachments that we really don't need to carry.
Yep. No, I love that story with the monks. Like I dropped her, I put her down. So all that time ago, I'd heard it like in terms of hours, days. It doesn't matter, but it's the same principle. What else have you let go? But non-attachment doesn't mean not being present or not enjoying things to the fullest. In fact, it might. And if I could get my head wrapped around this a little bit better and practice it a little more, like it could mean experiencing it even more to the full because you're letting it go when it's done.
Yes.
And so you know, like the you're going to, on a once in a lifetime adventure, you're going to soak in every moment of that adventure, whatever it is. And so what if everything in your life is this once in a lifetime adventure? How glorious, and how
that would be glorious.
Yeah, like that's just what a euphoric feeling if you just let it all go.
And it's the essence of non-attachment. It's the essence of joy and bliss. It's just that you understand that everything's impermanent, and you cherish but you know that it's not yours. You know.
I love it.
We're borrowing all this. You know.
Yeah.
And there's nothing I love more than giving a cherished something that I love that is a big part of me and my home to someone else. And it comes up. People really, they just show up and it's theirs, and I know it, and there's no hesitation.
Yep. Well, that's what what is the expression? It's better to give than to receive. That sort of thing. And when I was little and I was told that, I was like, what the heck? No, man, Christmas time, it's all about me.
More presents.
Exactly. And then now that I have kids, I could give a flip. Like my husband and I, we save up and usually we do a big present for ourselves, and we give it to ourselves. And so we love the present we got ourselves this year. It was one of those massage guns, but that didn't even come for 6 weeks. What Christmas was made of was the excitement of all the kids opening up all their presents and glee and the shouts and the screamings and the mess. And we opened up presents because last year we made the mistake of not opening up presents, and my daughter noticed and she was upset. And so we opened up some presents. It was basically, I don't know if you do this, I buy my presents and then I buy his presents. He's like, give me this. Amazon, we love you. And so this year we had gifts, but we could have not cared a thing about our gifts. It was all about watching them with theirs. And it's beautiful being, like you said, just giving. And, it has these implications where if we take it beyond just ourselves and the ones that we love, being non-attached to so much, we're building like that raft. What else have we built that we could give away for the betterment of our community and our society and things like that? Mm-hmm. And that's why it's such a big deal to me with the studio. From the very beginning, when I first took over back in, when was that, 2016, we have adopted a family for Christmas. Because as a studio, we have several hundred people. We have thousands of people on the email list, and you put enough people together doing a small, you can make an impact. And so every year we make it a point at the studio to try to give back to the community in ways that are small but meaningful to whomever it is that we're building, that we're helping. And if more people, if we started here in the yoga community, in the Thrive community, just being non-attached to something and giving it forward, what kind of a beautiful place could we make for our children, so we no longer are stealing from the future, which goes into Asteya, one of the other yamas. Mm-hmm. And it automatically, by being non-attached to all of these things, it's taking away any violence that you may have by keeping it, that ahimsa. So it's I love how these jewels, as the book calls them, all build on each other, but they also, it's like this beautiful circle, almost like the conch shell, where they keep building back and reinforcing each other.
Yes, and like we said in one of the previous episodes, the more you come to the mat, the more you come to the practice, the more these things are just naturally occurring, because it's what your divine essence is. Mm-hmm. And I've really enjoyed exploring these.
Yeah, and we would love to know if you have as well. Today we covered Aparigraha, non-attachment. It is the 5th of the 5 yamas. And next week we're going to cover all of them. We're going to do like a little summary,
right? And then we'll go into the niyamas.
Into the niyamas. And so we would love to know what you thought about this idea of non-attachment. Wait, you have a book?
Well, there was something in there that helps me a lot with non-attachment that I was going to share, but only if it kind of spontaneously worked in. So
is this not a spontaneous
moment
can be. For it to be worked in?
It can.
I feel bad because I saw the book here and I want to see this wisdom.
It's a beautiful reading, and I use a lot of readings as medicine because people just put it in so much more of an elegant way than I can. Mm-hmm. So I share a lot of readings, as you know.
I love it.
Yes. And this is the Book of Awakening by Martin Nepo.
I'll try to put a link to it below.
Yeah, it's phenomenal. And this one is called To Harbor or Release. And it's he starts out with a Tao quote. How can you follow the course of your life if you do not let it flow? The pollen collects until the rain washes away whatever has not been taken as seed. The moss forms on stumps and rocks until the feet of animals wear it off. The leaves that cover the path disintegrate in time to show they lost their way. It is the same with us. Our dreams collect like pollen until the sweat and tears of us living them washes away whatever has not become possible. Our soft, gnarly clumps of attachment grow out of our stone, joy and sorrow alike, until what is food is eaten and what is not is worn away. Like fallen leaves, our memories cover our path until they are remembered out of existence, setting us free. Often the pain of resisting makes us rust like iron. And in order to re-enter the flow of life, we need to be scraped back to our original surface. Our feelings, if not released, bred the heart with their grit. Like windows filmed by weather, we wait on loving hands to be rubbed clear. It is inevitable. Experience covers us over, and the expressive journey lets us come clean to the table of light again. All things in existence participate in this involuntary cycle. For human beings, the process of living stains us repeatedly with the grit of being here, with heartache and disappointment and the pointedness of being human, which can sicken us if harbored,
Yep.
or make us whole if released. Again and again, we, more than any other life form, have this majestic and burdensome power to harbor or release the impact of our experience. Humbly, we are asked to keep the flow real between what is taken in and what is let out. We have only to breathe, to remember our place as a living inlet. Experience in, feelings out. Surprise and challenge in, heartache and joy out. In a constant tide, life rushes in, and in a constant release, we must let it all run back off. For this is how the earth was made magnificent by the sea, and how humankind is carved upright again and again by the ocean of spirit that sets us free.
Beautiful. Thank you for sharing that.
Yeah, thank you for letting me.
So, what can you let go of?
What are you holding on to?
Yes.
What is keeping you from loving in a non-possessive way that sets another person free?
Oh, beautiful.
What is it that if it breaks, you would just lose it over? And let us know. Take a look, because we all have these areas that we struggle with these things, and let's work on this together.
Yeah, for sure.
And please like this on all the podcast forums.
And subscribe to our channel.
To us. We love to share space with you.
And we will be out every Wednesday, hopefully, barring anything catastrophic, from here for a while. We're not going anywhere. So let us know what you think, and definitely hit subscribe on that button down below. And we cannot wait to see you again next week when we basically summarize the yamas, the 5 yamas that we have talked about over the last, oh my gosh, it's been a month. That's crazy. So thank you so much for listening, and I hope that over the course of this next week you will think about letting go of something. And as you do, experience what it feels like, experience the joy, the sadness, experience all the feelings, and then share what those are with us.